Hello and welcome to the Pixie Dust Designs YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, or LV Handcrafted here on YouTube, and today I am going to make a slider card. I'm starting off with a USA 2 size panel that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to do a really quick inky background just to create a nice cloudy sky. I do like to use distress oxides because I feel like they blend really well, but for sky backgrounds, I don't think you really need it to be super perfect. And so it's one of my favorite sort of easy background techniques. Now, with the hot air balloon die set that I'm working with today, this is just an amazing die set. And the hot air balloon is pretty large, and that's the element that I want to actually slide. I found a slider die from another die set that will cut a slot into my sky background panel. And but if you don't have one, you could just cut a little slot yourself. It just needs to be about 1/8 of an inch or so wide, and as long as you'd like, within limits, of course, because you do need enough foam all the way around in order to attach the panel to your card base. But in terms of how long you want that to be, that's going to govern sort of how long or how long of a track your object will travel. This adorable puppy here is from the Valentine Puppies stamp set. It does also come with a coordinating die set if you want to purchase that as well. And my little puppy today, I thought it would be fun to actually put the puppy inside of the hot air balloon basket. So a moment ago, I didn't speak to it, but I did trim off 2 of the 6 ropes that attach the balloon portion of the hot air balloon to the basket. And the reason why I just snipped off those 2 innermost ropes is so that there would be enough room for this puppy to fit inside there. And he's super adorable. He's holding an envelope with a little bow on it in his mouth, which I thought was super, super cute. Now, I'm doing some quick alcohol marker coloring with my Spectrum Noir tri-blends. They're really nice because on the one marker barrel, you do get 3 different shades, so some combinations might be a little bit easier to get a smooth blend than others, but it's rather convenient to have all 3 colors on one marker barrel. And the hot air balloon does have a few different ways that you can decorate it. So there are these stripes that you can add if you want to create a striped hot air balloon. There's another die that decorates the top portion of the balloon, and as well there's a banner die and some bows as well as kind of that swag that you can decorate with too. Now, I did use a craft knife off camera to cut the bottom left and right edges of that envelope. And the reason why I did that is so that in case I needed it, I can actually have that, just the envelope, sit outside of the basket. I wanted to make sure to cut that first before I die cut my puppy. That way I have more paper to hold on to while I'm cutting with that craft knife. And I did the same thing or a similar thing with the hot air balloon basket too. I actually cut a slit where the top front edge of the basket would be. And that way I actually was able to put the entire puppy die cut into the basket. So he really does fit in there. And it did actually turn out to help to have that slit cut where the envelope was. So I did end up needing to have that envelope sitting outside of the basket in order for everything to kind of fit and so that you could see everything. For the slider mechanism, I've just punched out 4 circles. They happen to be 3/4 of an inch, but they can be anything that you like. 2 of the circles I folded in half and I glued just half from each of those onto one of the full circles. So that gives you this, which kind of might look a little bit like maybe a tack or a brad, where you've got your full circle on top and then 2 half circles or 2 other circles that are glued just by half of them. And then what I'll do is those legs there from the 2 portions that aren't glued down, I am gonna slip it through our slider track here. And then to lock this mechanism in place, I'm just gonna glue that 4th and final circle right onto the top there. So there's actually no glue that's actually touching those circles and our panel, and that's why it's able to move up and down the track. And what the thing with slider mechanisms is the more you play with it, the more you exercise it, the smoother it will get. And the more, once it starts to get attached to your card base, things will also tend to move a little bit more smoothly as well. Now this piece here is just some scrap 100-pound cover weight cardstock that I have cut to 1 inch wide. And I just doubled it up. I just glued 2 pieces together so that it's a little bit stronger, because this will be our pull tab. And since this is the thing that's going to get attached to the slider mechanism in order to pull the hot air balloon up, you don't want that piece to be too flimsy. So it's nice to use both either a very heavyweight piece of cardstock, or if you don't have super heavyweight cardstock, you can just double up like a medium weight cardstock. And it's always nice when you're making something that's interactive to let the card recipient know that there is something that they can do. And so I've just stamped on to my pull tab the word pull. So, I mean, I think that with this one it's fairly obvious because that's going to stick up outside of the card. And by the way, because my pull tab does extend above my card base, this is not going to fit into a USA 2 size envelope anymore. But one, you can either make a custom envelope and put it into that, or you could just pop it into a 5x7 envelope. Just, you know, go up in size by 1. So that would work too. Then I have pulled out, there are some really fun sentiments in the Valentine Puppies sentiment. So I picked this one, which I thought was really cute. It says possum friend. And so I've stamped that right on the top there. And our pull tab will get glued to that circle disc on the back of this panel. And the last thing to do is just to line this panel on the back side with some foam. And then we can attach it to the card base. I do like to put a couple of strips of foam near the pull tab. That way it almost helps to keep that pull tab so that it doesn't wiggle left to right, and it creates that channel that almost a track for the pull tab. So you just want to be careful not to put foam anywhere that impedes the movement of your pull tab. And if you're finding that things aren't moving as smoothly as you would like, you can brush on some, whatever your favorite anti-static powder is. So I just have a little container of baby powder here, and I just brush that right into that whole slider mechanism, the track, the discs, everything. Your anti-static powder will help to absorb any stickiness, any residue that might make it a little bit, I guess, increase the friction of your pull tab mechanism. So by powdering that, it just helps to dry that out and smooth everything out. I die cut the hot air balloon a second time just to give this piece a little bit more stability, because especially where those thin ropes are, it is rather fragile. And the only thing that this hot air balloon gets attached to is just that little circular disc, because it needs to travel with that disc. It can't get glued anywhere else. So I wanted to make sure that it is a nice substantial piece, and that in case it does get snagged on something, that it won't be overly fragile. The hot air balloon set also comes with these really fun, it's actually 2 different cloud shapes. So I thought I would die cut those to add to my scene. And the Valentine puppy set actually has another sentiment. I'm only using part of it. It says hugs and kisses, but I'm just going to use the hugs part, since this will be a just because card for a crafty friend. And what I did was I made sure to stamp the word hugs where it would be hidden initially. That way, when you pull the hot air balloon up and it's all the way at the top, it will cover the first sentiment at the top and reveal the second sentiment that is at the bottom. So it's always kind of fun to add a little bit of that extra surprise element, which I think is always kind of one of the fun aspects of creating interactive cards, because they're just fun to play with. But then if there is something hidden that's revealed, I think it just adds a little something extra to the design of the card. So once I've got my clouds in place here, that pretty much finishes up my card. So here is a close-up look at my final card. So look at that puppy, so adorable. I love all of the characters that Pixi Dust Designs puts out, both stamps and die form. I think the eyes are really what does it for me. They just really have super adorable eyes. And so there's that hidden hugs message when you pull up. And if you pull all the way up, it actually hides the initial sentiment. So lots of fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video today, and let me know in the comments below if you've ever made a slider card. Thanks so much for joining me, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye!